Hey, it's Steve with Raybuck Auto Body Parts. The project for this Saturday, me and the boys are working on is replacing or fixing the cables on the sliding door on our Honda Odyssey van. This is good for 2011 through 2017, I think it is, for those models. The cable snapped. So the motor itself seems to be fine. I think it's like $600 from Honda to get the motor. It's like 20 bucks for the cables, but it's going to be like an hour-long project to do this. It's pretty involved. So me and again Kobe and Blake here are going to start working on this thing. We're going to show you what it takes to replace this. It's the same for either side, whether it's the driver or the passenger, the left or the right side. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to move up to the front. First thing we're going to do, disconnect the battery. Because we don't want to get zapped, and we don't need to have the power on this whole time because there's going to be a lot of stuff taken off. So if you haven't done that before, there's this fresh air inlet. There's a little clip right here and a little clip here. You put a screwdriver in there and just pop the tab up a little bit, and you can see that it comes out, it loosens up. And then there's a rubber seal here where it just slides out from. You literally just slide that out and the battery is right underneath of it. So then just take the negative terminal, disconnect it, slide it off to the side, and you'll be good to go there. On the inside of the van, excuse me boys, there's two things. One, I turned it on just so you can see what it looks like. You can see right there where it says slide door, that is been lit up ever since the cable broke. So that's an issue. I'm going to shut that off. And then also you're going to have your sliding door on-off switch, so just move it over to the off position just to make sure that's off. This thing will come into play later as we have to reset the door. So once all the new cables are in place, there's a process to reset the door so it knows what the full open and the full closed position is. So that's that. You can operate the door without the power. It'll just open up and it slides, not a big deal. It's just a lot easier with it with the power option. So yeah, it's a little bit of a big deal, depending on the size. Some of the littler kids have a hard time with that. So I'm going to disconnect the battery, and then we're going to get into the process for showing you how to take everything apart to get to the cables. Now we are getting ready to take the inside out. But before we do that, I just want to show you, you guys may have seen this or may know this. There's two cables that pull this door forward and backwards. This is the front one, if you could sort of see it like right here. I had to cut it because it was stuck. Our back cable actually connects right up under this little lip under here, right in there. That was the one that broke, so that snapped and it was just hanging down the side of the van. So those wrap through this inner panel, and there's a motor right in the middle of this, which is super convenient to get to. Not really. So we have to take a lot of stuff off. We have to take this back weather stripping seal off, the front weather stripping seal, this lower panel. You don't want to take this upper one off because that eventually connects up into the headliner. So we're going to pop that off, and then we're going to get to that motor, and then there's some stuff that connects the motor and the cable assemblies out to the front. We're going to get those loosened up, and then on the outside, the bigger pain might be the door, because you do really actually have to disconnect the door. And you have to take this plastic panel off too. There's only a couple of bolts that hold it on. It slides, comes off. I'm pretty sure you have to take, well, you don't have to take the whole hinge off, this upper hinge here. I would leave the hinge in place, because if you take it off, you're gonna have a really hard time aligning it when you put it back on. You could take this inner portion of the hinge off, this bracket here. It's just held on by this pin. We'll take the pin out, and then this inner slider piece will come off. But you need to support the door. So you're gonna have to get a floor jack, preferably like a floor jack with a rag so you don't scratch it. Put it underneath the bottom of the door and jack it up just a little bit to take the weight off, and then we'll show you how that comes off. So I'm gonna start by taking the weather stripping off and getting the inner door panel off, and then getting this plastic piece off, getting the door jacked up so we can take the pin out, and then we'll show you the motor.
Don't want anyone to see.
Okay, we're going to take this panel out on the side because it overlaps the that back panel here. It should just be a couple of snaps. Go ahead, see if you guys can get it out. Should just pull right up. Let's see if the boys can get it out. Give it a yank. Come on, give it a yank. Can you get it? I hear it. Here, let me see if I can start it. Here, why don't you guys hold the flashlight? Should be able to just give it a little pop.
Whoa.
There you go. And we'll give it a little pop in the back.
That's not a little pop.
Yeah, that's a big pop. Okay. That's it. And you gotta watch, because see, it's got these little pink fasteners in it. And like this one back here stayed in place, so we're gonna take that out and we're gonna put it back in the hole, so that way when it goes back in, it'll snap right in place. But you can see you had to do it because right here it's gonna overlap a little bit. So take that out and that'll allow us to get that panel out. Okay, now that we got this lower panel out, we're gonna take this weather stripping off. Should be able to just pull it back. There you go, see, like that. So we'll just pull it off. I'm only gonna take it up past the panel because I don't feel like dealing with it the rest of the way. So there's that. That's off. We're gonna go in the back. Okay, Kobe, let's go in the back. We're gonna do the same thing back here. I'm gonna take this one off. Let's move that out of the way. I'm gonna pull this out a little bit. Take that weather stripping out, just again up to there, because we're not taking this top piece off. And we're gonna take this off because unfortunately we have to take this back panel off too, this lower panel. It's only 2 connectors. If you can see, there's one here, these little like clips, these garbage bag clips or whatever. There's one of these on either side. There's also one up here on the side. They just unscrew, so you should, yeah, can you see that, Toby? Yep, you should be able to just get in there and just unscrew it, and then they just come off. That's all that holds that on. So we're gonna take those 3 off. This bottom panel will come out. Once this is off, we're gonna flip this seat down, and then we should be able to start prying this whole panel out. Kobe, you want to unscrew the one on that side over there?
This one?
Nope, the one down there in the bottom. The one that's right down in there. I'm gonna unscrew this one.
Tight.
Nope, you're gonna make it loose. You're gonna take it all the way out. Just unscrews like that. You get that one? Yep. Yep, all the way out.
This one's really in there.
Okay, slide it off. Should be pretty close. Just pull it. There you go. Oh, you got the whole thing. Okay.
Kobe.
So I wasn't expecting that. That actually came out the whole way. So we'll see if we need to take that bolt out or not. I didn't think we had to, but we're going to find out here in a second.
Did it stick?
I don't know. Should be able to just grab the bottom of this and just pull it and pop it out. Okay, so we didn't have to take those bolts out. There you go. There's that piece. That's out of the way.
Wow, that's dirty.
Yep. No, we got to clean all back here. So this was the bolt that came out the other side when Kobe took his out. We'll just screw that back in. So now we're going to flip the seats down, or this seat at least. I always forget how these go. There we go. And we should be able to start taking this out. Here, you guys want to hold camera?
Yeah. All right.
There.
What's this little plastic thing on it? But I blew up like 20 times. I can't.
I'm going to flip this back up to get the bottom part of this. There we go.
Wait.
Wait.
It was a prank. We're just ripping apart our van. So we're probably going to get a new van. Whoa.
Okay, let me see this, Kobe. Okay, can you shine the light in back here? Okay, so we got the panel loose. Yep. There's the motor right there, and then there's some electrical connections. Each van, depending on the model and the options, will have some different electrical connections. So obviously you want to disconnect those so that you can get this off. Hence the reason we disconnected the battery. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get these disconnected, and I'm going to pull the rest of the panel out. Hey, Blake, you want to record?
I'll take it. Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Can this thing just snap back in? What if it can't?
It will.
What if it doesn't? Then it doesn't.
It doesn't like.
And then what do we do? We buy a new car. Right, Dad?
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't. Don't you? I do. You hope it snaps back in. Go. If it doesn't snap back in, what car are you on? I don't know. Isn't there one that we've been talking about for like 5 hours? We haven't even been off for 5 hours yet, Blake. Like, the one you tried to convince me to want?
Okay, move out of the way, Blake. I need to take this out. No, like out of the van, because I need to take this out.
So, he finally got it out. Oh, and by the way, this is Blake, and this is me, Kobe. We are from the channel Builder Kids, so like and subscribe. Okay, so this is what it now looks like. Horrible, so many circuits.
Are you recording?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the motor, and here's the front cable where it comes in, and here's the back cable where it comes in. So we're going to take these couple of screws out, these 2 bolts out, take the cover off, and then we'll see the pulley mechanism and the gears and everything that are inside. And then we're going to have to take this, the front part of this assembly off and the back part of this assembly off so that we can reroute the cables through it. But before we get to all that, we're going to go on the outside. We're going to take the plastic piece off the outside of the van.
Hey, Daddy.
Lefty. Okay, so Kobe's taking the 2 bolts out of the back of that plastic piece. I already took the screw out of the front, and then once that's done, we'll be able to slide that out. Don't tighten. Okay, here's this. I don't know if something like popped or blew. Okay, so I closed the door, but not all the way because you need to get your hand in there. We should now, since this front screw is out and these back 2 bolts are out, we should be able to slide this plastic piece back and pop it off. Okay, so we ran into a bit of a problem trying to get that plastic piece off the outside. I thought it would just slide off, but there are some fasteners holding it. The one I could get to was back here. The other one seems to be behind the motor. So I am just going to take the motor out. I'm not going to take the cover off yet. I just took the 3 bolts out, and I'm going to take the back cable and actually maybe for now just the back cable assembly off and get this out to see if I can get to that fastener behind it, because I really don't want to break that or take a chance of breaking that plastic piece. So once that's out, hopefully we'll get that off, and then I'll attach the motor assembly back up, and we'll take the cover off and then start fishing the cables out.
Alright, I think we found the fastener, guys. My dad said it's like right there.
Okay, so there is another fastener, and you can get to it right behind the motor assembly. I know it's really hard to see in here, but if you look way inside of that hole right there, you'll see that other fastener. I'm going to try to squeeze that and push it through. Okay, so there are apparently a lot of fasteners underneath it here. It doesn't just slide. They changed this from I guess the previous model year. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It looks like at least 6, maybe 7 fasteners. So from the inside, I found them. They're all white fasteners. You'll see them poking through, and I started popping them out. I'm going to just try to pop this thing off now and see. Hopefully, it'll come off. There you go. It's all these little fasteners. They were holding it through here. You can see this one is on there still. It probably broke. I'm going to have to get some new fasteners. And apparently this front screw piece you did not have to take off. That is just a tensioner. So that's all that is.
See those? I don't think I actually showed you all those. I couldn't see a few. Like, I saw up to like this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5.
There's more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, 6.
6. Yep. Yep, there are 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
Oh, and that's how it works. It just slides across that thing.
Okay. Okay, so we got the outside plastic piece off. You saw me disconnect this back part. I'm going to take the couple screws off of this, and then on this front section I took this out too. The 3 bolts that are holding the front part of the cable assembly. So I'm going to just take these screws out and we'll get to the inside of this.
Hey Dad, could you leave a link in the subscription below?
Yeah.
For Builder Kids?
Yep.
Because I'm going to mention it at the end. I have so many things to do today.
Okay, so the cover's off. You can see here's the inside assembly. Here's where the rear cable comes down. Here's where the front cable comes down. And then this is the center pulley section. I'm going to have to take this nut off so that comes off. But you can see the cable is already wound up because it snapped and it came back in here. So we're going to take all that out. And then when we're done with this, I'm going to get the door propped. I'll show you how to take that off. And then after that, we're going to be ready to put the new cables on. Okay, I finally got the pulley loosened up. It was a real pain. The cables were really jammed up in there. So I've been wiggling it. I've been spinning it side to side and slowly working the cables out, and it finally just came loose. I didn't take it out all the way. The pulley supposedly only goes in one direction, but make sure you kind of see how it comes off. You'll notice, you probably saw a little bit earlier, like this little groove right here, that's where the end of the cable goes into, and then it comes up, the metal part that's clipped on or clamped on goes here, then it comes up and then it wraps around. So I'm going to slide this out, and there's the pulley itself. So it looks a little bit chewed up, but not too bad, not too bad. Oh, yep, right there, it looks a little chewed up. And then there's the other side of it. You could see how the that cable is going in there, and you could see the back side, how it's kind of mangled right there. I think it's either from me prying at it or the cable got bound up. But that's it. It looks it actually looks good enough. I'm going to clean it up maybe with a little file. I think I should be able to reuse it. Okay, now I am going to jack the side of the door up just a little bit to take the pressure off of the hinge right there. So I'm going to get the jack right under the door, not on the very corner, and just a little bit. And I'm going to put a towel underneath of it there, just so that it doesn't scratch it. I'm going to take it up just a little bit, and you'll see the door start to go up. There we go. And you can see this actually came up, it lifted up. So now, it's kind of hard to see, but there's a hinge pin right in here. Let me see if I can get a light shining in there. You can see the top of that, there's a C-clip on it. I'm going to take that C-clip off, watch, because it's going to shoot out, or want to shoot out, so put your hand over it. And when that's done, we're going to try to get that hinge knocked down through, and that's going to take this whole, allow us to take this whole assembly off right here to get to where the cable goes through. You can see the existing cable that's snapped off or cut off right there. Okay, so I got the little C-clip off. You can see it's right there. And all I did was turn it around so it was facing away from me, and I got a pair of needle nose pliers, stuck them right against the either side of that, and gave it a little tap, and it pushed it right out. Okay, so now I'm going to get that hinge pin out. I'm going to take a metal file, and I'm just going to go underneath and give it a tap to try to like separate it, to get it down a little bit lower, and then hopefully I'll be able to get a pair of pliers and pull it down from there. Okay, there you go. There's the hinge pin. It just slid out. So now I should be able to take this bracket off. There, actually, right there. It's loose, so I'm going to just lean the door out a little bit and slide this whole assembly out. There you go. And if you give it a little tilt, it comes right out. And you'll see there's the, if you can see it right there, there's the ends of the cables. So that's where they go in, right there and right there. So we're going to take these out. These have like a rubber or a nylon sleeve around them. Keep that because you want to put that on top of the ends of the new cable. But we'll put those on, we'll route the cables through, get it into the inside, and start getting ready to connect it back up to that pulley. So here's the new kit that I bought. It comes with 2 pre-terminated cables. You can see the ends right there. This is what those plastic bushings are going to go onto that we just took off of the door. So this is going to go through the van out to the outside, and this is going to connect to the sliding piece of the door. And then it comes with a bunch of these like ferrule fittings that you're gonna they're going to be like your compression fittings. So this is the part that's going to go down towards the pulley itself. The cables are different lengths. Typically the long is going to go towards the front of the vehicle, and the shorter cable is going to go towards the back. Definitely check the cables that you took off to see if that aligns with the lengths, but that's typically how it's going to go. So I'm going to get these set up. We're going to put them in and start routing them through. Okay, so here is the piece that I took off the door. The cable that's in there, you just slide, there's a little groove you can see underneath, you just slide it to the center, and if I wiggle it, it should just pop out. Let's see if it comes out here. There we go, and it came out. And then if you can see that, there's a this like plastic or rubber fitting that goes around it, this sleeve. We're going to put that onto the new cable. We're going to do that for both of these cables and then put the new cables back into it. Okay, a little trick for taking this little rubbery plastic piece off of the end of this cable. Just clamp the cable in a pair of pliers so you can get your thumbs up around it like this, and then you should be able to just push down with your thumbs and pop it off. And there you go, it just slid right off. And then obviously for the new cable, you're just going to slide it. You're going to slide it through all the way, and then when you get to the end, it just snaps in. Okay, I got the new cables in. I put the bracket back in the groove, and I just reversed the order of what I did before. I lined everything up, slid the hinge pin from the bottom up, and then put the, oh, you can barely see it, sorry my finger's in the way, the C-clamp right in there, the C-clip, sorry, right in there. So it just popped right back in. So the whole door assembly is back together, or the outside part of the door, the slider door. I'm going to take the jack down and get that off, and then I'm going to start working on routing the cables through. Okay, getting ready to run the cables through. So this is the rear piece that I took off. You can see this is what would have been sticking through the outside of the van, and this was pointing towards the front of the van. So this is a rubber piece. You need to take that off. Should be able to just pry it right off like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to feed the cable through the hole in the rubber, and then up through the pulley, around, and down through the outside of this. And there you go. You can see it's routed through. Just had to wiggle it a little bit. We're going to snap the rubber piece back on. And this one is ready to go. We could actually bolt this right back up to the van. So that's what I'm going to do to get that on. And then we'll do the same thing for the front side. Okay, so I have the cable, the front cable put through the hole. I took the rubber sleeve off and I put the cable through the sleeve, and then there's a little plastic piece that you could pop off. If you take this off, the pulley that's on there has a little pin, and you can actually take the pulley off and then just slide the cable down through instead of trying to jiggle it the whole way, especially since this is a long sleeve that has to go through. It's a lot easier to take that off. Actually, you can see it here. The whole assembly comes off, and there's a pin right in the center of this. If you slide that out, or if you just push the take this off and put the cable through it, you can get the cable out the other side, and then it's a straight shot down through the sleeve that's on the side. You don't even have to take that off. So I got this off. I'm going to get it through, slide it down, and then both cables are going to be down at the motor. Okay, so I have the cable coming through the hole, the front cable coming through the front hole, and then what I did was, instead of, you could take this whole sleeve, this whole assembly off here, that the cable, the sheath that the cable is going to go through. You can leave it there though. The front of it actually just snaps. It's in two pieces and it comes apart. So I just took it apart, and then you'll see there's a pulley that's right down in here with a pin in the center of it. All you have to do is take that pin out and then lay the cable in. Instead of trying to route the cable around the pulley, you just lay it in there. So I'm going to do that, get it all in here, and then I'll just slide the cable through the sleeve, and it'll be down to the motor mechanism. It's a lot easier than trying to fish it through with all of this stuff in place. Okay, so I have my rubber piece that I slid over top of it. I'm going to put it through the plastic here, and then I'm going to pop this pulley off, put it through, and snap everything back together. Okay, now that the cables are run, you got to crimp on the these little metal sleeves on the end of each of the cables. Make sure the cable is flush with the end of the connector, and then crimp it on. They do sell, or you can get a special crimp tool for this. I'm just going to use my electrical crimpers because I think this should be fine because of the way it seats in the pulley. So we'll get that crimped. Okay, that's that one, and this one's on. So you can see once it's crimped, it's like that. And then now comes the really difficult part. If none of this has been difficult, which it all has been, it's been a real pain, you have to get it routed in here. So the rear cable actually goes into the rear of the pulley. There's a little groove in here. So you put it in and then pull it up through like that, and then you have to wrap it around. And then the front cable goes into the front of the pulley and wraps around that way. So what you need to do is get the door kind of in its middle position, in its center position on the outside of like the area where it slides. And then once that's set, your cables should be about even length in here. And that's when you put them on the pulley, start wrapping it together and get it on. I'm going to start working on that right now. Hopefully it doesn't go too bad. You may have to do this step a couple of times to make sure the door fully opens and fully closes, but that's how it works. So I'm going to go slide the door and then come back and start wrapping this together. Okay, I have the door sort of in the center position on the outside of the vehicle. I'm going to route the cables back down through this pulley mechanism. Let's see if we can get that through there. Probably should have done this first before I put the connectors on the end of it. That's it. We're going to get this, the end of the cable sleeve snapped back in. I'm going to get this part snapped back in. We're going to do the same thing for the other side, and then we're going to start working on the on getting this wound up into the pulley. Okay, I got the pulley back on. Hopefully you were able to see it. It's a little bit of a pain, but not too bad, but we're going to see if this actually works. Put the nut back on the center of it, and now I'm going to put the cover back on, and then try it. We're going to hook the battery back up and see if it works. Hopefully it does, and if so, hopefully it's just a few adjustments to set the full open and full close, and then we'll be able to start putting this whole thing back together. Okay, I got the motor hooked back up. Everything is buttoned up inside as far as like the cables and everything. So now, to reset the door, close the door, manually close the door. So just shut it. Reconnect the battery, and then once the battery is reconnected, go to your controls, your door controls, turn it back on, and then hold the open button. Press it and hold it in until the door opens to its all the way open position. Let go. Once it's all the way open, hit the close button until the door is completely closed. That'll reset it for the open, fully open, and reset it for the fully closed. I just did that. So now, if I hit the open button, there it is. Open. I hit the close button. And it closes. So that seems to be working. So fingers crossed, that was it. I'm going to start putting this panel on the side and all the inside panels back together and finally wrap this up. This was a horrible project. Not like manually or physically stressful, just mentally stressful. And it took probably over 3 hours to get this thing all apart and back together. So hopefully it helps you guys. Hopefully it makes it a little bit easier for someone else who's going to be doing this. Like I said, this outer panel was really the kicker because I had no idea it had all those little clips in it. But that's that. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it. Click the little like button. We appreciate that too. And if there's any questions you have, feel free to comment below. And again, thanks for watching.